This week on Cartoon Dumpster Dive, we're covering the cartoon Mobile Armored Strike Command, also known as M.A.S.K. Hello, Joel.
Hey, Andrew.
Did you ever watch this one as a kid? This seems like
No.
one that you would have watched. No?
Oh man,
It's up your alley.
Look. Can I just tell you something? I had no idea that this show existed until we started doing this podcast.
Oh, really?
But it has been one of those shows I have watched clips.
Right.
And I keep coming back to it because you are right. It is 100% up my alley. The animation, everything else, I love it.
I learned about this from Robot Chicken when it
Okay.
way back when. But yes, that's how I learned about it.
What was the Robot Chicken bit about it?
So the first time they ever reference M.A.S.K. is they do a parody of Cannonball Run, but with all these 80s franchises and Mario. And they do a race, and he's in there, and he throws his kid and a robot out the window or whatever. And then the second time, they actually do a full-on M.A.S.K. parody. And that was some years later. But yeah, it was pretty funny. But I was like, what is this show? And I looked it up. I never watched it until today. Or not today, but until we decided to cover it for Cartoon Dumpster Dive. And I was pleasantly surprised. I don't think the show is particularly good. I just found it so hilarious, and I'll get into why in a minute. But before we do that, let's review that theme song.
Oh, let's hit it.
Can I speak about how the beginning of that song sounds like an old employee's orientation VHS?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
But it is.
But then it gets better. I very much, it's very 80s.
Dude, I love it. I love every second of that. Even that sound you talk about, I love it all, man. A 9. I'm giving it a 9.
Oh, you're not going to give it a perfect 10. I don't think you ever will.
It's got a...
There's just there's going to be some song that hits your soul in the right spot, and it's going to make... It's going to be like that scene in Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Mac does the dance that explains that he's gay, and you're going to be Danny DeVito, and you'll be like, I get it now. 100%. I understand.
I will have that moment, and I'll text you
with a cartoon theme song, so it's probably not going to be as impactful. I'd give it about an 8. I really like the feel of it. It very much is really pay attention to that overtime part, because that plays a very big part in the M.A.S.K. universe and lore.
Oh, yeah.
So... Yeah.
Would it surprise you if I told you Shuki Levy and Haim Saban, they made this theme song?
No, it sounds like something they do.
They do. It's one of those things. If I see them as a composer on the theme song, I'm like, okay, it's probably going to be pretty solid.
What else have they done?
The Power Rangers theme song.
Oh, that's right.
What? Also the I don't think they did X-Men. Okay. But they also did Power Rangers. They did. I can't think of any more off the top. But
all
of my
the
head,
good ones.
Yeah,
it's like they're the Frank Welker of good animated theme songs.
Yeah, and can I tell you, we've talked about them on the podcast.
I know.
The theme songs.
I was just saying for the audience sake. Maybe this is their first episode.
I can't remember. What, 100 episodes in? I can't remember all this.
Almost 150.
Woo. But yeah.
We gotta think of something special for that. Email us. Suggest what we should do.
There we go. But yeah, it of course, epic theme song created by those two gentlemen.
Those titans of animated industry. So, Joel, how did M.A.S.K get made? This is up top a Reagan show with a capital R. I would even go so far as to say it's a Ronald Reagan show. We got to use his full name for how much shit they're trying to sell you in this series. Holy cow.
That's all the show is. It is through and through. So originally released September 1985, ran for 2 seasons, total of 75 episodes, ended the following year in November. Okay. So this was brought to you by our good friends at Dick Entertainment.
They had a producer credit, which is weird.
Well, remember this.
That's how I know that, like, this isn't animated by one of their studios. They just funded it. That's how I know they weren't like really involved with it, because it was actually competently done.
Yes. So one of the reasons why it looks so great is because they actually outsourced the animation to a Japanese company by the name of Ashi Productions.
Okay.
Which, let's think about this. This is 85. So you've got Transformers.
Right.
G.I. Joe.
Yes.
He-Man.
Yep.
All just rocking it with animated series and toys.
This is Transformers and G.I. Joe.
That's it.
That's it. Like, it's not. It is the least original thing I have ever seen. It's like they needed people and they needed shit that transformed, and they were like, let's just combine them both.
Yep, that's it. And you know, the production company did a great job. Look, back then, if you wanted a awesome animated Saturday morning cartoon about like some sort of mech vehicle thing, you gotta go to Japan at this point.
Big time.
They are just killing it. But this, it all started because of a action figure line that was produced by Kenner Products, who was just a toy company.
Oh,
that's it.
Any other notable toys?
Notable toys. Let's see. They are definitely known for M.A.S.K, also original Star Wars, Jurassic Park, and Batman. And they also did die-cast models.
Okay.
But they got acquired by Hasbro in 2000.
Gotcha.
Yep. So the way a lot of that works. But really, it was just the Kenner products just wanted to get on this bandwagon of the, like you said, G.I. Joe and Transformers kick, came up with the toy line. What's the easiest way to push a toy line at this point? Make a cartoon, man.
Make an incredibly expensive animated production. I think that's why new toys don't have these, is because they're so expensive and ridiculous. Like, animation is expensive. Everyone thinks that, like, every producer or person who's not a part of the industry thinks that animation is the single easiest medium of all time. Because it's like, oh, well, the actors don't have to work out, I've heard producers in interviews go, well, how long does it take to animate something? Like, couple months, couple months. Yeah. Like, no, it's a process. Even shitty animation takes an enormous amount of overhaul and effort. Like, even Hammerman last week, even that show, even though I said it looked like it took a week to do, it probably took about a year, and that looked like shit. But animation is like a very, very labor-inducing medium.
Yeah, it really is. But that's the story in the nutshell. I wish I had more for you, Andrew.
It's one of those where there's not much to it. There's not a lot of history. It's not like G.I. Joe or Transformers, especially. Like, there's a huge history with that, but with M.A.S.K, it's like, we could probably get some money out of the show.
Ride the bandwagon. And, I just thought of something. It is pretty interesting that nowadays we don't see shows that are just almost a startup production company could produce,
right,
and have a toy line with it already.
Yeah.
Like, just that ambition, but that just goes to show you how much they was using the shows to push a toy line.
Toys nowadays are like, almost everything nowadays is like a legacy thing. It's why a lot of columnists and people like that, they say that Gen Z has zero nostalgia. Like, they just don't have it. And that's because it's because the way stuff has been advertised is like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is like almost 50 years old or something.
Yeah.
And
it's not,
they're just like you like this because all the generations previous like this. And they're all like, this isn't for us. Like, nothing is being made for them. So, and like, their whole lives have just been reboots and rehashes and remakes. So they've got nothing to really look back on and be like, oh, remember that? And like, maybe Family Guy. I don't know.
That's incredibly sad to kind of think about.
But it just goes to show you how much, like, us as millennials, I want to say that we're one of the most nostalgia manipulated generation.
Oh, yeah.
Of like all time, like all the stuff, almost everything in media is still being made for us.
I mean,
quite frankly, I thought when I was going to be 35, I'm almost there. I got one more year, and I'm like, I'm almost out of the demographic for things to be advertised. And I feel like that's so every age you have a milestone, right? So 18, you can smoke and have porn. 21, you can drink.
Yep.
23, you can legally own an ice cream shop business. No, ice cream truck, excuse me. And then 25, your insurance lowers. And then there's kind of nothing else after that.
Nothing.
But when you're 35, you're no longer in the 18 to 35 age demographic. So it's like you're free. It's like you can be yourself. You can just like shit. Cause like if you ever look at what kind of movies and stuff your dad likes or your mom, they're just like they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go see an old Western. They're like, nobody likes Westerns. I'm like, I don't give a fuck if the general populace doesn't like them.
So what you're saying is at the age of 35, you've now at that point in your life hopefully realized that I don't care what other people think
aren't for you anymore. Now there are targeted ads, I guess, but even then, like if you look how a lot of targeted ads are, if you like the thing, you can clearly tell that they're like, they don't want you to buy it. They want the cool teens or 20-year-olds to buy it. They don't want a gross old person in their 30s, even though your 30s aren't that old.
Yeah,
societally or advertising wise, they want you to feel like shit and be like, you're old. This isn't for you. And you're like, you know what? You're right.
Yeah, I got one of those ads for the wheelchair lift going up the stairs the other day. And I was just like, man, I'm probably going to need one of those pretty soon.
Oh, you don't think it has anything to do with your wife?
Maybe.
The person in your house who's in a wheelchair?
Maybe. I like to just think.
You think it's for you?
Yeah, they're like, here's an AARP membership. Yeah. There you go, Joel. So speaking of
I got a Costco membership the other day. I was like, I'm done. I'm done giving a shit.
So speaking of old people not giving a shit anymore, Andrew.
Yeah.
Who are some of the voice actors?
So this is one of those shows where it's not a big voice cast.
Okay.
But they are working. Some of these people are voicing like 20 to 30 people. So I'm going to name like a handful of the people their voice, but just keep in mind,
like 3 people max, if that.
Yeah. So, but just keep in mind, the list is insane.
Oof.
So we have Doug Stone as Matt Tracker, Bruce Sato, Dusty Hayes, Hondo McLean, Mark Harlone as Sly Rax, Cliff Dagger, Buddy Hawks, and Ace Riker. Brendan McCain is Miles Mayhem, Alex Sector, Floyd Malloy. Jermaine McKinney is T-Bob, Brad Turner, Calhoun Burns, Julio Lopez. Sharon Noble is Mass Computer, Vanessa Warfield, Gloria Baker. Brennan Thick is Scott Tracker and Lee. Neo Edmund is Scott Tracker in later seasons. Brian George is Lester Sludge, Ali Bombay. And that's the cast.
Okay. Didn't recognize any of those names.
No, I think you would. So, Doug Stone is a garbage collector in the 1995 anime Ghost in the Shell.
Okay, cool.
Mark Harlow is himself in the TV series An Evening at the Improv in 1981.
Okay.
Brendan McCain is technician number 1 in Star Trek The Next Generation. These guys' careers didn't exactly pop off.
They wasn't, you mean 1985 Mask on your resume?
No, that wasn't their
garner
breakout
much?
roles. Germaine McKinney is plumber van spy in Weapons of Mass Distraction.
Okay.
Sharon Noble is telephone operator in Murder by Phone.
All right.
Brennan Thicke is Dennis Mitchell in Dennis the Menace.
Oh.
Neo Edmond is Cog in Power Rangers Zero.
Okay.
And Brian George is Alfred in Batman the Killing Joke in 2016. Brian George is the one who's probably the most successful out of all
Dennis
of
the
them.
Menace?
No, that was the other guy. That was Brennan. No, Brian George,
Okay.
you've probably actually seen him and stuff and his voice.
Probably.
So let's talk about this show for a second. One thing that tripped me out the most. One, M.A.S.K. stands for Mobile Armored Strike Command, command with a K.
Because it's the 80s, man. Yes.
Before Mortal Kombat did their K replacement with Combat. And then their villains are Venom, the Vicious Evil Network of Mayhem. Solid names.
Yep.
I love that Venom, they're just evil people. They're just a group of terrible people doing terrible things. There's no sad motivation. Like the guy's just like, I want a bunch of money, so we're going to either extort, steal, rob. They're just doing various evil shit throughout the series.
Just to be evil.
Like they steal a nuclear meteorite. They kidnap a child because he has a emerald arrowhead.
Okay.
They're just doing evil because they want to. They're just bad.
Can I be honest with you? So they could have very easily stolen the perfect example of them just being bad. They could have just easily stolen that arrowhead.
Yeah.
From the child.
Yeah, from the kid.
But they was just like, nah, let's just go ahead and kidnap him.
Because he's in the episode I'm talking about, he's wearing it on his neck. They could have easily just grabbed it off of him and ran, but they just took him too. So they threatened his dad, and they're just like, if you follow us, we'll fucking kill your kid. It's just like, damn,
evil.
But the best part about M.A.S.K. to me, it's not a transforming vehicle. It's not the action set pieces.
Okay.
Nothing about that show. They're all relatively okay. They're very 80s. The best part about this show is Matt Tracker is the multi-million-dollar philanthropist who's in charge of M.A.S.K. Okay, so he's set.
Yep.
He just does millionaire stuff. Everyone else has a day job, varying in pay levels by a lot.
Okay.
So Bruce Sato, he's an engineer. You have T-Bob. Oh no, strike that one. You have damn it. I had their jobs next to them. I'm going to have to re-find them. Oh, wait, no, never mind. We have Alex Sector. He's a exotic pet store owner and a veterinarian. We have Dusty Hayes. He's my favorite one. He's a pizza cook and a delivery man.
Okay.
We have Gloria Baker, a championship race car driver. We have Brad Turner, expert hill climber. We have Hondo McLean, who's a high school history teacher. And the list goes on of just one of them's a rock star. There's a lumberjack.
I got
There's
two
a
comments.
physician, NASA test pilot is one of them. They all just have. So when M.A.S.K is working overtime, they're literally working overtime because they got their 9 to 5 already. And then they got to go save the world. I hope they're being compensated for their labor. But the fact they have to go back to work the next day kind of hints that they aren't.
Like, I still gotta do this 9 to 5.
Okay, if you're getting paid by a multi-million-dollar dude to save the world, you're not gonna go back at your job as a high school history teacher. History teachers get paid shit, so that means he's gotta go out, save the world. By the way, they have to drop everything, and there is a scene where Gloria Baker stops her car in the middle of a 4-way intersection and books it to the M.A.S.K compound. Why she didn't pull a U-turn and just drive there is beyond me, but that happens.
Let's be honest, too. With this history teacher, everyone knows your history teacher is also you're like the football coach, the basketball coach.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
that's
you gotta have
those are always the teachers that the coach gets the job because they gotta give them something.
Yeah, because they gotta earn a little bit more income. So that's like working almost like 2 jobs. So so hang on. The what was it? The pizza cook guy he was a pizza cook and delivery guy.
Yeah. So he's doing 2 jobs.
Do you think he's doing those 2 jobs at the same pizza place?
I like the thing. Yeah, because whenever he gets summoned, he's always making pizza. And one of them kind of tripped me out because he gets called and he puts a pizza in the oven and then leaves. And I'm like, I hope there are other employees there. You also have to think these other people. Imagine if your physician worked for M.A.S.K and you're in the middle of a checkup, which happens, by the way. He's looking at a guy, looking in his ears. Like, oh, Mr. Thompson, you really got to look at your ears and be held. Oh, got called by M.A.S.K. Gotta go.
Gotta go.
And it's probably not covered in your insurance.
A M.A.S.K of a doctor.
M.A.S.K summoned. He probably charged you for it.
Yeah, try getting the insurance to pay for that visit.
He didn't even finish. He went to go say, he said he had something to do with M.A.S.K. I don't even know what that is.
He was very adamant about it.
Or like you order a pizza and it's like 4 days late because this guy is too busy saving the world to deliver your pizza pie.
You found it's just a black chore disc at that point.
What the hell? I ordered this pepperoni 3 days ago. Oh, sorry, man. And you know they're cocky about it.
Yeah.
Like they'd almost have to be like, oh, I'm sorry. I was too busy saving the world. You're welcome.
What have you done
You have
today?
to tip them after that. You got to give them a good tip. Definitely over 20%.
I would have told them you did too good of a job because I never knew I was in danger.
Yeah.
So you don't get a tip.
The first episode is about a nuclear meteorite. It made me... So the one thing that this lady wants to do research because she can take this nuclear meteorite and heal any disease ever.
Okay.
But then Venom comes along and goes, we can turn it into a weapon. And I'm like, I don't think nuclear energy works this way. I don't think... I mean, I'm no nuclear physicist myself, but I'm pretty sure like nuclear shit that can kill you, you can't just turn it around. Like weapon nuclear and healing nuclear, they're not the same nuclear. I think shit has to be done.
Hey,
I don't think we use nuclear energy at all to heal a person.
No, but we use chemo.
Yeah, but
that's like putting radiation into your body.
Not nuclear radiation. I don't even know how that works.
Okay, you are right. It is not nuclear radiation.
They don't just like dip you in a vat like a fucking you're the fucking Incredible Hulk or something. Like I feel like there's got to be more science to it than that.
It's an 80s show, and you know
That's
what?
True.
I never thought about this.
The Berlin Wall hasn't even fallen yet when this show came out. We just figured out about nuclear stuff.
I think you're onto something with this overtime aspect. Maybe this was propaganda. Maybe this was, the company's way of saying, hey, it's cool if you work overtime.
Yeah, these guys save the world on their downtime.
Yeah. You can work an extra 20 hours a week.
We barely have enough free time to do this and our jobs. I couldn't even imagine having to be a part of this world-saving organization. Do you think your occupation would be cool with that?
I was about to ask.
I can't think of a job. Maybe if you're self-employed. But, like, imagine you have to talk to your employer, because it's not like the military. Like, they legally have to with the military, but they're like, is there anything we should know about before you, we hire you, Mr. Turner? I'm part of a super crime-fighting team, and I can get called at any time, at any point in this job, and I have to leave to go save the world. I hope that's okay. And they'd be like, it's absolutely not okay. Also, I kind of take back the saving the world part. They do not save the world.
They would literally just been like, would have told them, okay, you'll heal back from us in a couple of days. And after that person left, they would have been like, he is absolutely crazy. What is he talking about?
That would have been a heavy 5 seconds of silence as they process that in the interview process. All I'm saying is that if a revolution happened, old Matt Tarker would not be spared in the Eat the Rich revolution. No. He can't even pay his own guys to save the world. Piece of shit.
Cheapskate.
So, as we've talked about the show. Let's talk about the merchandise. Let's talk about our toy line.
Yes.
Came out with 4 series of toys.
Yep.
They all transformed.
Okay.
And everybody came with a mask. So,
Ooh.
Which another thing I thought weird about that show, there's no reason for them to wear masks other than to use somewhat special abilities.
That's what I always got was the mask gave them that
they help
ability.
them target stuff.
Yeah.
I guess.
Think about it. When you have a component like that, you don't even have to make a human action figure that moves because you've got the movement with just putting on the helmet.
That's true. Actually, I don't think the earlier ones did have like, what's the word?
Like the joints?
Yeah, basically. They didn't have the joints. They were just like stiff as a board. And
Yep.
But they had the cars, they had the gas station. The gas station transforms in this show because that's their HQ is a gas station in the middle of the desert.
Just an ordinary gas station. That's it.
Just a run of the mill. Man, that gas station must be quite the trip to go to. Like you're in the middle of the Arizona desert or Nevada or wherever the hell they're located. They never say. They're just somewhere in the desert. You're like, oh my God, thank goodness I was going to run out of gas, but I found this gas station. And then it transforms, and then a fucking helicopter that then transforms into a jet for some reason flies out, and the gas pumps go away when it transforms. So now you're double fucked because you can't get gas.
Let's be honest, those gas pumps don't work.
They don't work. You're right. They don't work.
Imagine that disappointment.
Oh, that'd be even worse. Just like you get there, but like, yeah, I have 20 on pump 5. And then be like, how did you get out here? It's even more conspicuous because there's nothing around it.
No.
It's just a gas station. And if anything, Venom should easily be able to find this secret transforming base.
That one. Right there. That one.
I think it might be this gas station hundreds of miles away from civilization with nothing else near it. You're probably right. But yeah, the toys looked fine. They definitely put, and for what it's worth, the stories that they pick, they're not bad.
No.
Soto always says some Confucius-ass quote. He literally goes, Confucius say, a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. And they'll be like, and only Matt really gets them. Everyone else is like, he's talking crazy Asian nonsense. They don't say that exactly, but they're pretty close to just saying that. But, so in 2015,
okay,
Hasbro and Paramount were planning their own cinematic universe because this was around that time. That everybody was like, ooh, if Marvel can do it, we can. They were going to combine the universes of Micronauts, G.I. Joe, Visionary, Knights of the Magical Light, M.A.S.K, and Rom the Space Knight. Writers consisting of Michael Chabon, Brian Wagner, Nicole Perlman, Lindsay Beer, Chale Cocker, John Francis Daly, Jonathan Goldstein, Joe Robert Cole, Jeff Pinkner were all a part of it. They created a writer's room in 2016. And F. Gary was attached to direct the live-action adaptation. And I guess it just fizzled out because nothing happened with it. We are finally getting... This is a spoiler for Transformers Rise of the Beast, but they're finally combining G.I. Joe and Transformers. I feel like I would have been way more excited about that
10 years ago.
But now I'm just like, anytime I see a live action of those two series, I'm just like, I'm not interested. I just want it to be animated.
What?
As I've gotten older, I want more fantasy stuff that's animated. Like when I was a teenager, I thought live action shit was great. I was just like, this is so cool that the things I watched are now people. And like the MCU is like 25 years old. Two of the people who are in it are dead. And you're like, this is just depressing. And then like 3 of them are accused of sexual assault.
Yep.
Like, you don't really get that with animated stuff. I'd rather have that.
Yeah, and I've always been a big fan of any kind of animated stuff. Yeah. I understand the amount of money that goes into making an animated movie like you would see in Pixar or whatever.
Right.
But you could very easily take M.A.S.K, just using this as an example, you could take that, like the Universal thing, and just make an animated movie about that. Like, why did you have to do it live action? It would have been 1,000 times better if it was animated, because then you could make the characters look different.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
actually different.
And we're finally getting to a point where people aren't just copying Pixar. We're experimenting more with animation than we ever have before. Although since Spider-Verse came out, it looks like everybody's just animating on the ones and the threes now.
Yeah.
And thinking that we won't all notice.
No, that
mayhem looking at you.
That is going to get old really quick.
That works for Spider-Verse because they put a lot of effort into it, and it doesn't work for other. It's like how what this is trying back in 2015. Cinematic universes worked for the MCU because they gave a shit back then.
Yep.
And this one, they're just like, well, that's what the people want. Right now, in the animated world, it's animating on the ones and the threes, and for the regular movie world, it's multiverse nonsense, which hopefully is dying soon.
I hope so, man.
Because I'm getting real fucking sick of it.
Yeah.
I don't particularly like it in my comics, much less in my movies.
Yep.
But Joel, I believe it's time to move to your new reoccurring segment, Reviews That Are Beautiful and Reviews That Need a Mask.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. That was a real softball one, but I appreciate the praise.
So I was able to find a 1 and a 10 this week, Andrew.
Ooh, both sides of the spectrum.
Both sides. So this is the one that has to put on a mask.
Okay.
A 1 out of 10, just titled terrible. This TV show has several issues that ruin the entire show. First off, it's repetitive. It has the same formula over and over again. You may argue that most shows back then were repetitive, but not like M.A.S.K. Second off, it's very lame and nerdy. I know I am over the target audience, but even if I was 10, I would dislike it. It's also cheesy and ridiculous, but not in a good way. If you want 80s cartoon goodness, watch G.I. Joe or Transformers instead. The animation was bland, choppy, and generic. Note, as I kept knocking stars off my already low rating, there's one thing decent about this show, that the toys were kind of cool.
The nerdy part, that got me.
Dude, this guy...
Bunch of nerds like this show.
How dare you?
500 pounds.
I'm sorry. This sounds like someone who is like probably in their 30s or 40s at this point, watched a brand new, to them, 80s cartoon that was just trying to sell products and thought he would get something more out of it.
Thought he was going to get something deep.
Look, I've went back and I've watched through Transformers. I still love Transformers, but sometimes that can be a struggle to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? And so but the only reason that it keeps me going is because I'm nostalgic when I watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do it with a new series that you never watch. It is rough.
Yeah.
Speaking from some experience here, it is rough.
Yeah, you never want to go back to an old property. The best thing to do if you're interested in something, see if it got rebooted.
There you go.
And then watch that.
Yes.
Because you'll probably have a better time.
All right, Andrew, this is a 10 out of 10, titled An Honest Review. The Transformers meet G.I. Joe, and there was even a big semi-truck that transformed into a base of operations that was kind of like the leader from the Transformers. And some of the kids had the semi-truck, but most of us had the green motorcycle chopper and that red car that turned into to get an opening by its door, like the DeLorean back in the future, but it couldn't travel through time. And trust me, when you are 5, it was extremely cool, and the cartoon was just as cool and they all wore masks like some execution squad operating insecure out of a mountain with a volcano that wasn't a volcano, but really a gun tower hidden under a rock. And I'm sorry for picking that comment.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a struggle.
I don't think he went back. I think he's writing that review from memory.
He is. That is 100% a nostalgic view on that thing. 100%. It is. Yeah, it is very obvious what this show is.
Yeah.
And what it was made to do. But
it's a catalog for you to bug your parents to go buy these things for you.
Exactly.
And that's okay. But don't go around, don't church it up and be like, it was the pinnacle of my childhood. You know, the stories, so deep. I learned so many lessons. I was like, I wouldn't be the man I am today without M.A.S.K. And you're like,
oh my God.
What?
What?
The man you are today is terrible. So this explains a lot of things about you, Greg. You piece of shit.
He says
go
this
to a therapist.
He says this from behind bars in a maximum security prison.
I thought you were going to say he says this behind the mask that he constantly wears. So really, everything he says sounds like this. And he's just like...
like Bane, basically.
Yeah,
I was born in darkness.
Because he made it himself. Greg, you're a real piece of work. You know that.
You're a real piece
of shit. Any closing thoughts
Greg.
on old M.A.S.K? It had a comic. It was like a mini run.
DC comic, small run. I think it was one of those comics that they threw in with the toys to kind of give a backstory.
To get those kids whose parents wouldn't let them watch TV.
Exactly.
You gotta cover your bases.
All of it. Honestly, just go look up the theme song on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's amazing, animated beautifully. And if the theme song is not enough for you, which it should be, that's all you need out of this is that theme song. But if you want more, you can find it on YouTube.
Free on Tubi.
Yeah, also free on Tubi.
Free on Tubi.
There you go.
This show runs off Tubi. Just in case you were ever wondering where we find most of this stuff.
Yep. What about you, Andrew?
I don't know. It was fun. It's hilarious to watch them all get summoned. That's about the only part of the show that I really enjoyed. Them just dropping everything to go to the M.A.S.K HQ.
Andrew really thought about this in a adult brain. Like, you know how hectic it would be in my day to have to just drop everything.
Imagine, like, they're on call 24/7. That's crazy. To do very dangerous work for what I assume is no financial compensation.
I imagine, like, feeding the baby, like,
they're like the
asleep.
writers going through the writers' strike right now. They're not being properly compensated for their labor. You know what? There's your sketch robot chicken. They go, oh, wait, they wouldn't write it because they're on strike.
It's okay, Andrew. The owners of Hollywood, all those companies have said that all those writers should go broke by December. So they'll have to come back to work.
The one guy who said, we're just going to wait them out till October till they're homeless. And then Ron Perlman's like, I'm going to burn your fucking house down. And you're like, holy shit. Honestly, ridiculous. I hope they do.
Yeah. Yeah. Give them fair pay.
Yeah, pay them. And if you'd like to pay us for our show, you can go to patreon.com/cartoondd. There we have a $5 tier that gets you stickers, pins, bonus episodes, and access to our Discord. We have a website, cartoondumpsterdive.com. There you can go to our store or request a cartoon an anime, someone for us to interview, or have two cartoons go head to head in our Junkyard Brawl, we have a Twitter handle CartoonDD. We have an Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Threads, all Cartoon Dumpster Dive. And if you'd like to send us an email, you can send that to cartoondumpsterdive@gmail.com. And as always, we appreciate a 5-star review on the podcasting platform of your choice, so we don't have to be on 24/7 on call by a multi-millionaire. Have a great rest of your week.
See ya.
God, I nailed it.
Dude, I had no idea what you was going to do for that one, but killed it.
This has been a Lug Hole podcast.